Hi Billboard, I'm Charli XCX. Let's spend 24 hours together. This is Artwords. This is a bookshop that I sometimes come into. It's on a very cute street by London Fields. And I just like to come here on the weekends when I'm in London. To be honest, I don't read loads, I won't lie. I'm more of a movie watcher, but I definitely go through phases where I'm really like on a book, you know? The book I'm reading at the moment is David Bailey's autobiography. He is an amazing British photographer. I really like reading David Sedaris books. I love reading Natasha Stagg's books. But I'm not a big fiction reader, to be honest. I like reading about people who exist in the real world and their stories and how they've ended up where they are. I've definitely been on a journey with my creative process and the music that I make. And I think, my first record, True Romance, which I think literally like 11 people heard, is one that's really dear to me and I really love it. And I think it's, in my opinion, stood the test of time, but obviously everyone else will have their own opinions on that. But after that record, I made a much more kind of, like commercial sounding record, which is what I wanted to do at the time. I think what I was actually going for with Sucker was kind of like what Olivia did with Sour. Like, I think that's such a great record. And I wish I'd kind of been able to make it more like that, but I didn't. As a woman in the music industry, when you start really young and you're not really like shown the way, it can be very intimidating and it can be hard to ask for help. It can be scary to kind of like make a statement or ask what might be deemed as a silly question out of fear of being like ridiculed and laughed at and told that you don't know anything, when really the only way you learn is by asking and making mistakes. And I think I was able to sort of learn throughout the process of my first 2 records how to really kind of communicate and pull the best out of people, understand different producers and their strengths and weaknesses, understand my strengths and weaknesses. And I think that set me on the path to, over the next records that I wrote, be able to really kind of hone my sound and understand truly what I liked and why it was important to make things that I liked and how that would only kind of make me a kind of more cohesive artist, I suppose. So yeah, I think that process from like Vroom Vroom, Number One Angel, Pop 2 onwards definitely was able to get me to this place now where I feel more confident than ever in, the creative decisions that I make.
So let's ride.
This is my local cinema in London. It's called the Castle Cinema. They play great movies. They have really good taste. The bar up here is really cute and really nice. I watch a lot of movies. Like, that is kind of where I find a lot of inspiration and where I kind of get my creative juices flowing, I suppose. One film that was really, I wouldn't say it was like, super, super, super inspirational, but it did like really light a spark in my mind, was Greg Araki's Smiley Face. And I remember feeling super engaged with the credits, the font, the colors. And at that point in time, I already knew that the record was called Brat, and I had already kind of like done this draft mock-up of the disgusting green album cover. But I kind of knew when I saw the opening sequence of that film, I was like, okay, this feels like something I really need to pursue, and seeing that movie really kind of like solidified the kind of font, text, bold album cover in my mind. So yeah, and then I actually really want to come back to the Castle Cinema on Sunday and see Maxine, because I think that trilogy of the Ty West Mia Goth movies is pretty Brat. I mean, I want to be a star. That's very Brat hardcore.
Yeah, 360. When you're in the mirror, do you like what you see? When you're in the mirror, you're just looking at me.
When my record came out, that was June 7th. I was in London. There was just so much going on. I almost sort of forgot that the record came out in a way. Then my whole internet started going green, which was really cool and overwhelming. And all the fans started making these memes. And I got pretty locked into that the first week. Just, you know, the internet, like really interneting and being like crazy and fun and silly, and that was pretty cool. The BRAT green, what does it represent? I think there's this kind of idea of like making something like quite disgusting and turning it into this thing that, you know, people are going to look at quite a lot and think about and ask, you know, why that green? Why the pixelated font? Why is it so crap? Like, I think those questions spark a really interesting conversation about why people are annoyed about certain elements of the artwork. I really enjoyed that some people like absolutely hated it, and some people were writing these kind of like essays on, you know, why it was good. And obviously that was, you know, the point of the whole thing, and kind of like taking this like pop art angle of like, yeah, you might think it's bad, but you didn't do it, kind of a thing, you know? But yeah, it had to be like really untrendy and uncool, because there's nothing worse than vibes, you know? Boo to cool vibes, hate that. Okay, I'm gonna take some popcorn for the road, and then we're gonna go to the next location. Okay. It's really, honestly, so cool to have this be the record that seems to be like speaking to the most people, because I made this record with no sacrifices. I still had to argue my case for certain things on this record. Not being on the album cover was something that a lot of people were uncertain about. There's always fear when it comes to kind of like sticking your neck out and like doing something that maybe isn't super conventional or something that hasn't been, you know, tried and tested before. My suspicions about how to kind of like roll out this record and the way to present it, even the songs that are on it, it's been really awesome that my suspicions about what might work were right. I think basically I'll go back to LA in a week or so, do some more kind of writing and things, and then I'll start rehearsing for the Sweat Tour with Troye, which is going to be really fun. And we've kind of just began to sort of nail down exactly what we want production-wise, you know, for how the room is going to look. At the moment, we're definitely in fantasy world of like all the things possible, you know. Can we put a cage through the middle of the arena and have the audience be right up at the bars of the cage and us be able to walk through it? Can we put lights throughout the arena rather than just on the stage? You know, all these things about kind of like transforming the space. You know, I really hate when shows are sort of contained to like the stage and like a catwalk. I feel like there's so much possibility, you know, within any space to really kind of like transform it into something completely unexpected. Obviously, you know, it costs a lot of money to do that, so I guess it just depends, you know, how much money we want to lose. Being on the cover of Billboard for the BRAT campaign is pretty fun, because Billboard does get a shout out in the album on Rewind about how I never used to think about you guys. Sorry.
I used to never think about Billboard, but now I've started thinking again.
Now I'm thinking about you guys because, you know, I'm on the cover of your magazine and the album did kind of well, but I'm not going to think about you guys for that long because it like drives you a little crazy and it's not the kind of artist I want to be. But like, love you guys, thanks for having me. And now we're gonna go to my photo shoot, which is gonna be really fun. So let's ride. Vroom, vroom.